Today we are talking about the very strange case of Brendan Banfield, the so-called au pair case. This is a case in which Brendan Banfield has now been found guilty of two murders, the murder of his wife and of a stranger who was in the house. And how the stranger came to be in the house is a matter of some debate. And so the story goes, the story that he told police was that, the au pair came back to the house. She'd forgotten something in the house. She saw a strange car in the driveway, and then she called Brendan and said, "There's a strange car in the driveway. Come back in case something bad is happening." And then he came back, went inside, and there was a man in the bedroom with his wife, apparently attacking his wife. And the story goes that the wife had had some kind of crazy sexual fantasy relating to forced sexual encounter, and that is what Brendan Banfield stumbled in on. And then he shot the man stabbed the wife, he shot the man, and then the au pair shot the wife. I believe that's how that's how the story goes, how they try to sell it. Uh, One of the weird things about the story is if when the au pair went back to the house and she saw a strange car in the driveway, why would she automatically phone the husband and say, "There's a strange car in the driveway. Something bad must be happening"? It could be, I don't know, a friend visiting. It could be somebody dropping off a parcel. It could be a repairman. It could be anything. So that part of the story never made sense to me. Anyway, the prosecution says that this entire story was fake, that Brendan made up the story with his lover, who was the au pair, of course, and then the au pair testified against Brendan. I found her testimony to be very cold, very stilted, but of course she's been given a plea deal, so for her cooperation and her testimony against him, basically the prosecutor is recommending time served, basically that she walks free. And a lot of people are unhappy about that, but it's a common kind of way that police or prosecutor operates, letting the least culpable person have a very light sentence if they flip on the worst person, obviously the worst person being the husband. So the husband was found guilty of the two murders, child endangerment, and a few other crimes as well, but it was mainly the child endangerment and the murders. So he gave evidence, and so he gave evidence of that he was not aware that his wife was on these sites, and interestingly, and this wasn't widely reported, but interestingly, in the prosecution's case, they had digital experts when they were investigating the crime, digital experts who actually agreed with the defense's version. They agreed that it was the wife who had initiated this contact on the fetish website with the man who was in the room with her when both were ultimately killed. And for me, just from a legal strategic perspective, that would have been something that I would have really pushed, but it doesn't seem to have been highlighted a lot by the defense. So the question is, should he have testified, and did it help his case? I think more and more defendants are testifying, because if you don't testify, often juries can draw an adverse inference. Although there's the Casey Anthony case. She didn't testify and she got off. So, and it's widely believed that she was guilty in that, factually guilty in that case. But the jurors said the prosecution just hadn't proved it. So I don't think that his testimony helped the case at all. His theories were a bit wild. They were all self-serving, and he just came across as a thoroughly unlikable, creepy person. And so, yeah, far be it from me to suggest strategies that would get a guilty person off. The only thing that we can hope for is that the process gets the guilty person into jail, and obviously his team will appeal that, but I can't see him ever facing the light of day. But it was a very strange, complicated story, and he was a an IRS agent, I believe, and I think because he was in law enforcement, he thought that he could get away with the whole thing. But for me, besides the legal element, the important thing to remember is that his innocent wife was put into this horrific scenario where somebody came into, and there seems to be no dispute that this man came into her bedroom expecting a rough encounter. And then, of course, the other victim, the gentleman who was there, he he is truly innocent in all of this, by all accounts. He came along expecting a consensual encounter, and then craziness ensued. Obviously, the lady was resisting, and that was supposedly part of the role play that the husband, pretending to be his wife, had arranged with this gentleman. So very, very crazy case, very wicked case, very uh, confusing from a moral standpoint. How would anybody even think of something so diabolical and then think that they could get away with it? From the evidence that we saw, it appears to me, although there was some disagreement with some of the technical experts on behalf of the prosecutor, uh, from the evidence that was presented, and even though the au pair was self-serving, it still appears to me that justice was served in this case, and the right person is behind bars. Thank you for listening.